Why have one stream of income when you could have seven? We will tell you about how we created additional income streams for ourselves and how you can too. Hello, and welcome to the Wealth Minded MD podcast with your money best friends. I'm Dr. Brittany Halford.
And I'm Dr. Alicia Taylor.
Of course, we're here to help you build wealth and make good money decisions so you can create the life you desire with more control over your time.
Hey, Alicia, one of the most important financial tasks we do as doctors is protect ourselves, which means getting the right insurance. I recall purchasing my insurance policy just a few days before I graduated from residency. What was your experience?
So I got my insurance when I graduated from medical school right before I started residency. I actually called a few agents, but I had the best service from Pradeep Auto at PKA Insurance Group. He was super responsive and personable. Unlike some of the other agents, Pradeep actually got me quotes from all the major companies and actually took the time to explain the nuances in each of their policies. What I love most is that he wasn't just this way for me. Whenever I would send one of my friends to him, he would not only speak to them, but he'd also let them know where to go or who to contact if there were better options or discounts available.
At PKA Insurance Group, Pradeep Auto and Matthew Peterson are independent brokers focusing on disability and life insurance. They excel in securing coverage for physicians and other medical professionals. Discounts on disability insurance can range from 10 to 40% depending on your situation. And there is now an A-plus rated carrier offering up to $10 million of life insurance without lapse. If you are very healthy with limited to no medical issues, approval is likely in 5 minutes. Reach out to PKA Insurance to discuss your disability or life insurance needs at www.pkainsurance.com or call 1-800-258-1018.
All right, Alicia. So over here in Boston, girl, I've been so busy with applicant season. I know you also work towards interviewing some of the residents, or at least work with the residents. I don't know how much your involvement has been and how much it has complicated your life. Let me take that back. It has not complicated my life, but it's just added on additional things to the schedule that now I have to show up. I have to have my hair done, all of the crust out of my eyes at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that means my kids also need to be gone. So it's been a little hectic over here with how many interviews we've done. And I'm just very grateful for this role in this position, but I'm still trying to manage it all. So it is a blessing, but a busy blessing. What about you?
Well, hold on. I have follow-up questions. Man, it's crazy. At my job, they'll say, Dr. Taylor, do you want to be involved in interviews? And here it's like, no. I mean, when I was involved, like when I worked for other organizations, I was very involved and it was something that I found pleasure in. But I think right now my life has become so hectic that I'm trying to do a better job of not saying yes and committing to so many things. There's so many instances where people ask me things or ask me to do things. And I used to instinctively say, sure. And the problem is that they always have a habit or some way of asking me about a favor or something when I'm in a good mood. And so then I commit when I'm in a good mood, right? When reality sets in and my life gets complicated as it inevitably does and I'm tired, I'm like, am I getting paid for this? What am I doing? And so I try not overcommit is what I'm saying. And so I might help out with some of the committee stuff, but in terms of interviews, I just know that my life is already so busy and the residents already asked me to do didactic learning and teach workshops. And so I'm just like, okay, I don't know if I could commit to interviews and interview discussions and all of that. What I might do is be involved in the rank list meetings, because that's really important to me, is thinking about how are we ranking the applicants and which ones do we want to come to the program. So that's something I'm thinking about. But I know that you are way more involved than I am. How has this been for you? You have to dedicate a certain day out of the week?
So typically we interview on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I try to protect my time on those days. And because of my role as director for underrepresented in medicine, recruitment and mentorship, I have to be present because we are a small coalition. And so I need to show up to represent, or somebody from our team needs to show up and represent. So it's me and 3 other colleagues who are part of kind of this knit team to support the residents. I show up there during the morning to introduce myself myself and also in the afternoon just to talk about what are some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives going on within our hospital. So it's been really rewarding from the recruitment perspective and also the mentorship because I know what it feels like to be the only Black woman in a room. I've gone to predominantly white institutions, that's been my academic legacy. So sometimes you just want to see somebody who, if you got a question about your hair or, I mean, just some type of nuanced thing. So that's been really nice to be able to connect with the residents and to show up and show face and say, hey, yeah, we're still working on recruiting to make sure that we have a critical mass, but there are people here to support you. And it also makes me feel like I'm paying homage to everyone who supported me going through this journey. Dr. Brown, Angela Brown, if you're listening to this episode, I love you. Thank you for all that you've done for me, just to invite me over your house and let me eat with you. And anywho, those small things matter. And I'm just very grateful that I'm able to attribute just a small contribution to this initiative.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I'm happy that you're able to do that. I know that brings you a lot of fulfillment. Over here on my end, I have been continuously working on research. Man, oh man. It's so funny. Every phase of my career, I have been like, I don't want to do research. That's a lot of extra work, a lot of extra time. And inevitably, I get pulled into research, whether it was like a requirement from in medical school. And then I'm a little bit nosy, which I like to say intellectually curious. So then I would want to do some follow up. And then in residency, it was like a requirement. It's like, okay, if I got to do it, I want to do it right. I want to do something I'm passionate about. So then that led to something else. When I was hired at my job and I was trying to negotiate the salary package with the flexible schedule, my boss was like, hey, if you do research, I can give you more admin time or more research time, right? So I said, okay, yeah, that's great. I'll work from home. But then it's like more work. I was talking to our director of research. I was like, there are days I feel like I have 2 full-time jobs. And she starts laughing. And she goes, you know what? Everybody thinks research is so easy, but you are really in the thick of it. I mentioned to you offline maybe a few weeks ago that a lot of my athletes are iron deficient and have low vitamin D. So I'm trying to obviously give them supplements, and then I want to recheck their levels, obviously, right? Did the levels improve? I don't want just the levels to improve. Like, do we have an increase in bone mass? Do they perform better? And so now I'm like, ooh, I should design a study and track all this stuff, right? But of course, that's more work. That requires more money. So I'm applying for more grants. And it's like this never ending cycle. My team is so excited. They're like, oh, yeah, Dr. Taylor's going to do all this research. He's going to publish. He's going to write these grants. And I'm like, why am I this way? Why can I not just be satisfied? Why do I have to go the extra mile? It's creating more work on myself. It is fulfilling. It's just also very time consuming. So anyway, this is my vent session, I guess. I don't even know if I have a point. I think it's just that I'm very busy. I think that was my point.
Well, I love that you have reframed your nosiness to intellectually curious. When we think about the smartest people in the world, it's those who've asked questions, those who have challenged social norms and really understood to a deeper level how things operate. So, Alicia, I love that about you. And I think that we need to ask more questions when we're thinking about our finances, when we're signing the contracts, when we are building the businesses, we need to ask more questions and to be intellectually curious externally about what's going on, the happenings, but also internally. And so I would just charge you to say, as you are going through things, to maybe pause. That's one of the things that I'm trying to do. I'm like, oh, let me read this email. And then I'm going to pause to reflect on, do I actually want to do this? How much work is it going to be? What is going to be the benefit to me? Not everything is a monetary benefit. So like, what skills am I going to gain? What relationships am I going to build? Do I have capacity to even nurture the relationships that I might forge during that time? And be intellectually curious, but internally. And so as I'm saying this, I'm like speaking to myself, especially as we will be diving into the financial focus of this episode, which is multiple streams of income and how we built that. Because if we don't have the energy or the capacity to continue to build upon some of the things that we've established, then they're not going to continue to grow to the same extent that they would if we have our hands in it versus when we're just allowing them to be passive. So yeah, I think that that's a great reminder for all of us. And thank you for the work that you're doing. I can't wait to read the paper.
Oh my Lord. Even just the thought of the paper, I'm like, oh man, I got to write this. I don't know if you've ever gotten things published in these high impact journals, but it requires multiple revisions. And it's just like the process just
so many revisions. That's one of the reasons why I don't do research. And as we have previously spoken about our financial goals, I guess one of my personal personal goals is to publish something. So maybe we need to put time on the calendar for writing. And as we try to establish accountability partners and make it more pleasurable and to be very intentional about that, because there is something that I want to write that I have not written yet and I need to get it done.
You will. You will. This is me encouraging you. We both need to be more accountable. But yes, also, I'm going to employ your previous tip about hiring help. I have bribed some of my residents to help me out with my research, which is also
Yes.
included like, okay, can you find all the requirements for this journal versus that journal? Okay, cool. Can we get a preliminary draft ready for background section, that sort of thing? So I'm going to try to employ help so that I can get that stuff going. As physicians, one of the most important things that we can do is make sure that we secure our income, because a lot of our financial plans are contingent on our high doctor income. One of the things that you will need to do is make sure that you get long-term disability insurance.
Now, Pradeep and his team at PKA Insurance Group have a reputation for putting people over profits and always doing what's best. Do not hesitate to email PKA Insurance and his team today.
They will help you get the insurance you need with the service you deserve.
One of the ways that we can have more impact is to generate more income. And as I reflect on all the ways that we have decided to take action to build additional streams of income, I thought that this would be a really great podcast episode for us to give people some ideas. I think when we are trying to approach something that we've never done before, sometimes it creates more impetus to do it, more belief to do it. If we've seen that somebody who looks like me, someone who does the same thing that I do, we have similar values, skill set, they're doing this, I can also do this. So I hope that by us sharing my streams of income, that it creates a belief for you of what is possible and that you can boost your income inside of your job and outside of your job. And just to put a plug in, our Boost program is open for enrollment, and we walk you through how to do this effectively, leveraging all that we've learned in creating additional streams of income. So, Alicia, I know we're working through kind of my streams of income, but I know you have been a part of startups before. So I'm excited to learn more about how you are also doing things and creating additional streams of income for yourself.
Yeah, let's dive right in. Let's dive right in. I'm very eager to give my opinions on things. And so, yeah, let's get started. I'm open.
All right. So the first thing is obvious, right? It's being a physician. That's my primary job. This is the core source of income for me right now. And honestly, when people talk to me about just what I'm doing in this personal finance space, they always ask, well, Brittany, do you want to leave medicine? And I always say no. Alicia, I don't know how you answer this question, but I always say no because I dreamed about being a doctor from the age of 7. And when I think about just wellness in general, it includes, yes, financial wellness, but also physical and mental wellness. And I appreciate that I can sit at the bedside by my patients and be able to share these intimate moments, to be able to teach them and educate them in a different way, than some other providers have. And I love just hearing, oh, thank you for caring for me. Thank you for how you saw me beyond my illness and you saw me as a person. And I really enjoy that I can nurture my own soul and feel good about achieving this goal while helping to impact the wellness of others. So I always say that I'm going to stay in medicine, and being a physician is my primary job, and I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah, so I love being a physician. It's one of my, I think, core identities that I really take pride in. I love sports medicine. Right now, I really love my job. I'm putting the emphasis on right now, right? Because things could change. But right now, I'm really happy. I like my boss. I like the people that I work with. And so, yeah, right now, I plan to stay. In terms of long term, I think it really depends on how other business ventures and how other streams of income do. I don't know if I will give up medicine entirely, but I can definitely see myself cutting back from the amount that I work now, just to make room for other things. I love medicine, but one of the things I dislike about medicine is the fact that for so much of my life, medicine has monopolized my time. And so it's not that I hate being a doctor, it's that I hate the fact that I have to spend so much time doing it at the expense of me doing other things that are also really important to me. And so I could definitely see myself cutting back. I don't know if I could see myself leaving medicine full time, but one of the things that we can't ignore is the fact that as physicians, as women in medicine, we get paid really well. And so as we start thinking about streams of income, income, I think there is something to be said about having a stable, very high paying stream of income that we get our benefits from, that allows us to provide a level of financial security for ourselves and our families. And so, just like you, physician, that's our primary job. And I'm keeping that for now.
All right. So now moving into our second stream of income, and this is real estate. And this is one of my goals for 2025, people. So, Lisa, I think I may have shared this with you, but I tell people that I am not buying anything. Like, I don't want to buy things. I want to buy property. So, in our past episode, I told you how I was buying some new shoes and a new coat. That's because they're tattered. But otherwise, I'm going to be very thoughtful about how I spend my money. And my goal is to buy properties and to really boost our real estate portfolio. Right now, we have one real estate property that we own, and we kind of stumbled upon being direct owners of real estate. But what I'm learning is that there's so many tax benefits of owning real estate. And I'm super excited about generating more passive income through real estate investments, not only because they appreciate over time, but the fact that I can leverage them using some cost segregation studies, forced depreciation, and tax deductions really, really, really is exciting me. And when I think about just how much taxes we have to pay every year, I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I need to learn more about real estate. I need to do more in real estate so that we can leverage this not only for ourselves, but also for our future to be able to pass down property. Say Brooke or KJ wanted to go to Emory, like, oh, you don't have to pay for rent because we have a property there. And so just thinking about how can I not only invest in our market in Boston, but to own additional real estate in other markets that help us to generate more passive income, reduce our tax liability, and also to leave a nest egg for our families to leverage.
I really like that. I will be honest and say that I don't currently invest in actual property. I have money in REITs, real estate investment trust. Think of it like a index fund, but for real estate. So I definitely have a substantial amount of money in REITs or real estate investment trusts, kind of like stocks and things like that. But when it comes to actual real estate property, I've thought about this so many different times. I thought about investing in syndications. I thought about investing as an active investor in buying properties to rent out. And I will tell you, part of my hesitancy has been, are there other things that I could do with that disposable income? Are there other ways that I can invest that money that wouldn't require as much of my time or oversight? Because when it comes to real estate and renting out properties, you got to make sure you get a really good tenant in, right? Because you have one vacancy that can kind of wipe out your entire profit for the year, let alone multiple vacancies, let alone somebody who is living in your home and is not paying rent. So that's the worst of it. Sometimes there's a lot of repairs and costs of home ownership that you have to pay for. You and I have talked ad nauseum about some of those things. So it's made me a little apprehensive of thinking maybe I should wait. I think for me, I would feel a little bit more secure once my student loans are gone. I had mentioned before that I have the bulk of my student loans will be forgiven under the public service loan forgiveness program. There was about 50 grand or so that I needed to pay off, and almost done paying that off. And so I think once that's done, which should be done in the next few months, I'll feel a little bit more at ease. I applied for more loan repayment programs. And so especially if those come through, I'll feel even more at ease, and I'll be able to say, okay, now I can really start to put money towards real estate. And it's good. I'm going to have to examine my life at that time, right? And say, is this the time that I want to invest doing real estate? Do I want to invest in real estate and outsource that task? So maybe hire a property management company? Or do I want to wait because I need to carve out time to have children and do all of these other things? And so I'm trying to figure out which thing is going to take priority. But one of the things I do know is a lot of the tax benefits when it comes to real estate investing. And that is definitely something that is on my radar.
Yeah, and I love that you have options. The whole point of this podcast is that you don't have to do any one thing, that you could do all of the things or you could do none of the things, but that is your option to choose. And we just want to present you with what we're doing in our lives, the reasons why we're doing them, for you to say, okay, this is possible. This is something I could do. Maybe not right now, but at a later date. And here are the reasons why. And so, Leisha, I'm just really glad that you are at least investing in real estate through REITs and adding that diversification to your investment portfolio, and also educating yourself on some of the opportunities that exist. And one of the ways that I've been thinking about doing real estate is through creative financing. And one of the fellows who, well, I guess he graduated now, so he's not a fellow, he's an attending, but he did my husband's program at Boston Children's Hospital. And man, this man has a very vast portfolio. He's used creative financing to purchase all of his real estate properties. So that's what I'm thinking about doing, is like leveraging other people's money to do this. And you got to figure it out. It's a little bit more complicated, but it's possible. It's possible. And I think it's just about just learning and saying, okay, it's going to work for me now or not. And how I like to share information is not only on this podcast, which is one stream of income, but also as a financial coach. So that is an additional stream of income for me is financial coaching. And really, I got pulled into this because I started to share my journey of paying down my debt, and other women ask me, how am I doing this? Can you teach me? And whenever I think about a coach, I think about someone who helps you to change your behaviors, to just do things a bit better so you can have better results, and to help you break down some of those mental blocks that prevent you from taking action. And I just got a DM from one of my clients, and she just showed me basically the receipt from her paying off her debt. And it just gives me like so much joy and warm fuzzies of, oh, you didn't do this because you were afraid. You didn't do this because somehow, even though logically having credit card debt or having this large amount of debt was not wise, and especially with it being a 20% interest rate that you're paying by holding this large sum of debt, it felt comfortable for her to be in that position. And we had to work through that discomfort. And then I had to show her logically, here are the numbers, right? Here's how much you're going to save by taking action. And then she finally did it. And so being a financial coach just provides me so much fulfillment in a different way than medicine does, because I know that I am helping to give women more choices by them taking very decisive actions, and by them taking these actions that are a little bit uncomfortable and realizing that they're okay, and even better than okay, it is helping them to build confidence. So I love being a financial coach, and this is another stream of income for me.
Well, I love that you love it. You seem very passionate about it, as I can see your face lighting up here. I don't want to take away from that passion, but I will say that I've always been apprehensive whenever I have seen physician coaches. We talked about this a little bit offline, is that I've always been skeptical of it. I always viewed someone who called himself a coach as somebody who wanted to be a therapist but didn't get the certification. It was like, okay, you're trying to provide some level of therapy, but you're not a psychologist or not a certified therapist. And I always felt like it was a way that people ended up charging people exorbitant prices for help. Part of these high-end coaches charging people $50,000 for masterminds and universities and all of those things. And I just thought, oh my gosh, is this a scam? Like, where are their receipts? What have they done besides make money from selling you programs? I've always been very, very skeptical. But I will say that some of that skepticism has started to fade as you and I have embarked on this journey together. Because when I think about helping women in medicine, when I think about helping other physicians, I oftentimes will speak and host workshops and things like that. But sometimes people want that one-on-one attention. And it's like, okay, well, what do you call that? Because I do find joy helping people achieve a goal that they set out for themselves, or helping them understand how it is possible, and helping them overcome some of the mental blocks that may prevent them from achieving the results that they desire. And it's like, okay, well, what do you call that? And so I've learned that embracing the title of money coach, embracing the title of wealth strategist has been really helpful. And so I'm saying this to say that I don't think I'm the only one that has been skeptical of physician coaches in the past physician coaching programs. But I think for me, it's like I have seen this level of success in my own life. And instead of hoarding this information that I know can be transformative, I would like to share it with others. And my process, my way of doing so is in the small group setting in this coaching program. And so for us, we've got Boost, which helps people make more money in their job and make more money outside of their job. And I'm really, really excited about it because it really gives me the opportunity to help people learn a skill and leverage that skill to achieve an outcome that I know so many people desire.
And Leisha, I appreciate that you brought up your skepticism, because I think a lot of people feel that way. And honestly, there is some truth, right? We don't have the same certification as a therapist or a psychologist, and that we are helping people to get past whatever internal interference, internal friction that is preventing them from doing the thing that they need to do. And whenever I work with my clients, I think it's different than a consultant, because I can look at their budget, I can look at their debt profile, and I can say, okay, you need to do this, this, and this. That's what a consultant will be providing advice based upon what their goals are. I want to pay off my debt. Okay, all you got to do is do this, do this, do that. But what I find is that even when people know what to do, they don't do the thing. And a lot of times that is because of mindset. And I also find that if I was consulting, like I've had past clients tell me that they've gone through, I'm gonna name drop, maybe I shouldn't. We might have to take this out later, but Dave Ramsey's program. And they had someone who created the budget for them and they were inconsistent. And then they didn't know how to adjust it, to tweak it, to do it themselves. And so, what a coach will help you to do is to not tell you exactly what to do, but for you to work together to create the plan based upon your goals. And I always tell women that I don't want you to be reliant on me. Yes, you might have to come back to say, hey, I now have a new problem that we didn't address, but I want you to be independent of me. And so we're going to work on how do we build up those skills so that you can do this independently and create the life that you desire. So that's what I love about coaching is that, I help people to handle their own thing, to learn their finances in a way that feels very tangible, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but comfortable for them because we're working to create it together so that they cannot be reliant on me in order to achieve their goals, that they're building the confidence in order to do it themselves. All right. Next stream of income for me is this podcast and creating some digital products. Leisha, I know you've also done this in the past. So, of course, you were part of a podcast before. So, tell us about why you thought that this was a really great stream of income for you to invest in and how it's been changing your life and your pocketbook.
Yeah, well, to be completely honest, I didn't start podcasting for the purpose of making money. Thankfully, it has worked out that way where it has turned into an additional stream of income for me. But when I first started podcasting, my goal was not, I want to make more money. My goal was, I think that I could help a lot of people with finances. And I used to do a lot of blogging. And I think that people have less time to read blogs nowadays. And I thought, well, maybe I should transition more into podcasting so that my message and the things that I have to say and the ways that I can help people can go out to more people. I actually got a lot of my start in the financial space. I mean, obviously I worked in finance, but in the physician finance space by doing a lot of blogging and doing a lot of writing. I was hired by several different companies to write finance related articles for them. And I still do some of that from time to time. It's a good stream of income, right? For me, I have written so many blogs and articles on finance that I can probably write half an article in between patients, or if a patient no-shows, I'm halfway there. If I'm precepting residents while they're in the room for 30 minutes, I can knock out an article or at least outline one. And so I used to do a lot of blogging, but like I said, so many people were listening to podcasts and the podcast space was kind of elevating and expanding that I thought, let me be a part of this. And so when the opportunity presented itself for me to join, my previous podcast, I jumped on it because I really wanted to make an impact. And so I actually think that that's some of the best work that you can do is to do something that you enjoy, and usually the money will follow. And so that has been my experience with podcasting in the past. And thankfully, it has continued to pay off now.
Yeah, I'm happy that we have this platform where we can impart wisdom, experience, share money mishaps and confessions with other people in the hope that we're just letting you know some of the things that you can do. And so I think that your goal for getting into podcasting is coming to fruition. And I'm happy that this is a passion of yours because whenever you have a passion, then it helps to ease the burden of some of the things that you have to do. We don't just jump on the mic, do the podcast, and then we're done, right? It requires some planning before. It requires for us to find a platform to host this thing and to put the content out there, to polish the content. So there's some work involved. And whenever you have an additional passion or hobby, then it helps when there's some meaning behind it. So I'm really appreciative of that. Another stream of income for me is speaking. And I know you do a lot of public speaking. This has been one of my greatest opportunities recently to get paid is by stepping on more people's stages and platforms. And it's something that I did before having kids. And honestly, I scaled back because I just felt a little bit guilty about traveling to speak. And I stopped it. This year, I've spoken on 8 stages now, which has been very rewarding to get in front of people. I'm always very excited and it's exhilarating. I'm appreciative that they're paying an honorarium for my presence and for my expertise. How has this worked for you? And I know that you also enrolled in a speaking program to help you become a better speaker. Can you share a little bit more about that experience as well?
Yeah, I love speaking, just like you. I love hosting workshops. I love giving keynotes. Those are things that really bring me a lot of joy. So if you're listening to this, right, and you're looking for a speaker for your next conference or retreat or whatever, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Brittany. I think we can add a lot of value. That's our pitch for today. Anyway. anyway, when I was in residency, I knew that speaking was something that I wanted to get into. One, because I loved speaking. I loved giving presentations and I didn't always like preparing for them, but I liked the actual art of me speaking. I felt like I was having a big impact. Even now at the place that I work, the residents are always like, Dr. Taylor, can you give a talk? And I'm like, y'all, see, y'all are like broke best friends because y'all want me to come in and y'all can't. So I'm gonna have to limit y'all. No, I'm just kidding. But my point is that I love speaking, and you're totally right. I actually enrolled in a program that would help me learn to be a better speaker. I think one of the misnomers is that if you're good at something, then you don't have to necessarily pay to be better at that thing.
Mhm.
Sometimes we can get a little frugal and a little stingy with our dollars and say, oh, I already know that, right? And so for me, it was, how can I build off of this strength even more? I was already, in my opinion, a pretty good speaker, but I wanted to be a better speaker. I wanted to lead a more meaningful impact. And more importantly, I wanted to learn how to earn more money from speaking. It struck me as odd that a lot of the people that I knew personally in my life who spoke would get a very small honorarium when they would speak at places. But I kept hearing about people who were paid tens of thousands of dollars to give speeches. And I wanted to know, how is that possible? How is it that the people that I see aren't as successful in that endeavor, but people I keep hearing about are? And not necessarily celebrities, obviously that's a different realm, but just people who speak for a living. And so I really wanted to get a glimpse into that world, learn about that world, learn how to pitch myself as a speaker. And so I took the time and the money to invest in myself. And I remember when I was making that decision, I was really apprehensive. I was a resident at the time. Yes, I was making money from side gigs, but I think the program was 3 months or so. And so I was like, oh my goodness, do I have the time? I'm a resident right now. What if I'm on call? What if something happens? But it made me feel good that the sessions were recorded. I really believed in the person hosting the program, was able to learn a lot from her, was able to be in community with people who had very similar goals. And it was one of the best investments that I had made in myself. And so if you are looking for a sign that you should invest in yourself, let me encourage you to do so. Because yeah, it made me a better speaker. More importantly, it allowed me to be in a position where I can make a lot more money from speaking and have a better impact. And so I'm really excited about that. That is one of the streams of income that I do find a lot of joy in. Like you though, Brittany, I have to be cognizant with my time, right? Because sometimes traveling to places and things like that can be taxing on the energy and take me away from my family. But overall, it has been a great source of joy for me.
Now, when we talk about other sources of income that you can do right in the own comfort of your home, you don't have to go anywhere. You might have to do something, of course. It's so funny. I had a conversation with a woman after one of my speaking engagements, and she's like, I've been thinking about how to leverage some of the skills that I have. And I've thought about selling things on Amazon. I thought about being a consultant, and all of it requires work. They say passive income and everything requires work. And I'm like, yeah. Nothing is entirely passive except investing. But even when you're investing in things that are purchasing shares of like big companies and investing in the stock market or purchasing bonds or investing in REITs, you're still taking your active income to do so unless somebody just gave you a gift and then you invested that money. So part of it is just like reshaping how she thought about these opportunities. And I did a little bit of coaching that I won't do on this podcast with her. But this is something that I would coach people through in our program, is doing the internal work to understand where they could find their niche, the thing that gives them joy, protects their time and energy, and builds an additional stream of income. So I'm really appreciative that you have been able to do that. And one of the ways that I have also done that for our family is by selling a physical product. So not only just like digital products, a podcast speaking, but a physical product, which is selling hair accessories that are satin lined. So the backstory of this is we started this company probably in 2020 or 2019. It was after Brooke was born, and as a busy mom, I put on headbands often because it covers up my edges, and I lost so much hair in the postpartum period because of postpartum shedding. And so I lost all of my edges. So I had these headbands that I would use to cover up my edges. And similarly, my daughter had like the bald spot in the back of her head. And so we started to create hair accessories for children because I didn't find any satin lined hair accessories for children that I thought were cute and something that I would want Brooke to wear. So I'm selling a physical product now with this hair accessories brand. But what I realized is that the physical product is not the end game for me, because now this is more like family run. The end game and the goal of having this business is because it allows me to shift income. And income shifting is one of those advanced tax strategies that the wealthy takes advantage of. So effectively is that I'm shifting income to people in my family who are working within the business, and they are paying a lower amount of taxes because I do not have that income sitting in reserves as profits, and now it can be a business expense, it reduces my taxable income and it gives money to my family because they're working within the business and they're paying less taxes for it. So through this income shifting strategy, I've been able to pay Brooke as a model, and now she has a Roth IRA. I've been also able to employ other family members who can do the packaging, the shipping, and all of that of products. And that way I don't have to pay the taxes on the profits that we're making, and I can help to build the wealth of our family.
I love that. I love that. I'm not selling physical products. I did write a draft of a book. And so who knows what will happen with that in terms of other sorts of ideas that I have in mind of products that I would like to sell eventually. But right now, I am not. But I love what you said about how it could allow you to pay your family members and have that payment be a business expense, right? It turns it from a charitable gift, right? You probably would have donated or given money to your family in some capacity to now it's earned income that I get to deduct on my taxes. So again, when we're thinking about side gigs, we're thinking about how can we make normal day-to-day expenses tax deductions, right? And that is one of the ways that it seems like you and your husband have been able to do that. And that's amazing. That's one of the ways that I am hoping to do that within my family, especially when we eventually start this charitable foundation, is employing some of the members of the family, especially some of my retired folks to kind of work in the business and having an opportunity and a place where some of my own family members and friends can work and we can all share together in this goal of giving back. And so I love that this has been a way for you to really leave a lasting impact on other people in your family.
Thanks, thanks. And this is something that's possible for everyone. When you're thinking about your side hustle, remember, yes, it is for you to generate more income, but then there are other ways that you can support other people and other benefits from having a side gig. So the last stream of income is investment. And Alicia, I know you're all about investments, background in finance. Tell us about how investments are helping you to build more income.
Yeah, yeah. So most of my investments are in low cost index funds. And it's not only for me investing money through my jobs for 3B or 401k, it is also opening up solo 401ks. It's also doing my backdoor Roth IRA. So we've got all these tax protected accounts. But then I also have brokerage accounts that I invest money on the side. And the other thing that I've done is I do consulting. So you didn't mention this as one of your streams of income, but it is one of mine, is whenever I'm working with startups, I'm usually working with them as a consultant for the most part. Sometimes depending on my role, I have to be an employee. I have to be hired within the business just based on the role. But usually I try to be a consultant if I can. And one of the things that I will typically do when I'm working, especially with startups, is make sure that I am not only paid in cash, but that I am also paid in stocks and stock options. And so when the business finally does expand or get sold or IPO or whatever, that I am sharing in that. And that is one of the things that actually happened for a couple of businesses. One example would be Doximity. Most physicians have heard of Doximity. I was an exclusive content writer for Doximity. One of the ways that I was paid was in stock options. And when they IPO'd, when they went public, I was very happy. I'll just say that. And so that was very pleasing to me. And so one of the things that I've learned is to be strategic about how I negotiate deals with companies when I'm doing consulting. And again, it's not only about the money. For me, it's also about the stock options. But I want to put a plug in and say, in order for your people to feel comfortable doing that, you have to know how the options are, know how things are structured from a tax perspective, but also you have to have disposable income. I know so many people who have the option to get paid stock options, but they need the cash so badly that they can't afford to make that sacrifice. And so it really is also putting yourself in a good position where you can afford to take that kind of risk and hopefully have it pay off. And so for me, it's been investing on my own and also stock options and stocks and things like that from companies that I had the amazing opportunity to work with.
Love that. Love that. Just hearing our stories and sharing our vision has really helped me along to conceptualize what are some of the other possibilities. And that's one of the benefits I love about being in a group coaching program like Boost is that we can not only learn from the coaches, the industry experts, but we learn a lot from each other via sharing our paths. Because although we're very similar, like we're both women physicians, we've had different experiences that have brought us to this point. And by sharing that, I'm learning from you, you're learning from me. And it helps us to shorten the gap to get from where we are to where we want to be. And I have not really thought about okay, how do I negotiate stock options with any company that I'm working with? So thank you for planting that seed, Leisha. I think that that is very helpful for us to just put there and wait for the opportunity to come for it to grow, but also just making us aware of what are the possibilities. And this is one of the very, I think, undervalued sometimes aspect of being in a group coaching program and really communing with other like-minded people.
Yep, yep. And so if you're thinking, ooh, I want to be with like minded people, obviously we have our group coaching program called Boost, which helps you make more money in your job and outside of your job. And as Brittany mentioned, one of those perks of that is community. You get to be in community with us, right? And ask us a lot of questions, whether it's related to side gigs or taxes or business structure or negotiation tips, but also ask other people around you because that's what Brittany just highlighted is sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes other people have ideas that you may not have ever thought of that you could benefit from greatly. And so being around those people and being able to hear other people's ideas. How did you structure your contract? How did you start the side gig? What are the things that made you really profitable? What's another source of income that maybe you hadn't thought of before? And so I really like that. And I think that's one of the really key parts of joining a group coaching program is that community aspect. Alrighty. And now let's get into our fun money segment. All right, Brittany, what is something fun that you were doing with your money?
So I think I spoke about this episodes ago, how we are going on this family cruise. My brother is going with his 2 kids. My aunt is going, my cousin's going. Like it's a whole thing, right? We're going to be on this boat for 7 days. I've never been on a cruise before. So my sister-in-law sent me a message a couple of weeks ago, like, hey, Brittany, mommy said that you might be interested in splitting the internet. And it's like $90 a day to pay for internet for 4 devices. Okay. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll split that. And then you have to add on like all these additional things. Like if we want a stroller or if we need all these other add-ons for the kids. And I'm like, okay, this cruise is starting to rack up in cost. I mean, it's nice that everything is there, but everything is not there because you're on a boat and they're charging you for all the things that you got to bring on the boat. So that is what I am doing fun with money. It's kind of like that Spirit philosophy. When you fly Spirit, you know, you have to pay for the extra leg room, you have to pay for your drinks and all of that. So that's kind of what it's feeling like a little bit. I know I'm going to have a lot of fun when we're on the cruise, but I just wish that there was a more inclusive kind of everything. So I just knew I paid this one-time fee. I got everything that I need and want, and I don't have to keep going back to ask for more things and evaluating the cost of them. So it's fun because we're going to have fun when we're there, but it's not fun right now actually paying for the stuff.
I get you. I went on an Alaskan cruise with my family, and for some sort of package that we booked, we could choose 2 out of 4 things, and one of those things was like Wi-Fi. But of course, it wasn't high definition Wi-Fi. It didn't include video streaming, and so we had to pay extra for the Wi-Fi, and there was extra for this and that. So I feel you. Keeping on your theme, I too am going on a cruise soon. I mentioned my friend's getting married. She's having this bachelorette cruise, and her sister is organizing it. And of course, she put us all in a WhatsApp group, and it's like, okay, well, you know, we're gonna have different themes, right? You know, Friday, everybody wear pink. And Wednesday, everybody wear this. And it's a cowboy theme. And you can get this, order from this. And I'm like, wait, huh? Now I got to buy 5 more outfits. I already have a gazillion swimsuits. I am from Florida. I do the beach. I do the pool. Like I have a lot of swimsuits, but now I got to order a different swimsuit because, you know, she wants to be organized, which I get. But I'm like, ooh, okay. So the cruise that was initially X amount of dollars, similar to you. I'm like, okay, got to add outfits. She's like, you want to do a cabana day? And it's like, okay, I'm sure that's not free. I mean, it's going to be a fun time, right? But it requires me to spend a little bit more money than I had initially planned. So now I got to get some stuff for this bachelorette cruise.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I don't have any cowboy hats or anything that I can loan you, but send me your list, girl, because you never know. I'll send you a package from Boston.
Look, I might have to do that. Your hand-me-downs are great quality, as we have established earlier. So now I'm not as slim as you, so we might have a little problem squeezing into some of the stuff. So
That's
we'll
right.
see what fits. Thank you for the offer, because I might take you up on it.
You are most welcome anytime.
Alrighty, and before we head out of this show, we want to remind you that enrollment for our Boost program will be closing soon. So if you are interested again and learning some tips on how you can negotiate better, being in a community of like-minded people who are also trying to negotiate better, make more money inside of their jobs, as well as make more money outside of their job, establishing additional streams of income, as we talked about earlier on this show, being able to leverage some of those 1099 tax benefits, please do not hesitate to enroll in our Boost program. Enrollment will be closing soon. And of course, we want to see you there.
Hello, Hello, and thank you for listening to our podcast. And because of that, we have something for you, our Wealthy Minds Blueprint.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I could be better with money? Do you want to start investing and saving for retirement, but keep delaying because you don't know where to start? Our Wealthy Minds Blueprint is here to help.
This guide will teach you what you didn't learn in your training, so you can stop being confused about money and start taking what we call wealthy-minded action.
We'll help you become a master of your finances and simplify investing so you can get started today. Take control of your financial future by downloading your free copy of the Wealthy Minds Blueprint now and start building the wealth you deserve.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Brooke. I'm recording a little disclaimer for my mommy, Dr. Brittany Halford, and her friend, Dr. Lisa Taylor. Just so you know, they're not financial advisors, tax professionals, lawyers, or financial planners. Everything you hear is for education and entertainment. It's not strict financial advice, you know? So use your best judgment, chat with a tax professional, and all those other people that you need to talk to. Thanks for tuning in today. Keep cruising on your journey to wealth and wellness. Bye-bye.
One of the most important things you can do is ensure you have long-term disability insurance. Long-term disability insurance secures your income if the unexpected happens and you are unable to work due to medical illness, chronic conditions, or an accident.
Unfortunately, all insurance agents aren't created equal. Some of them are so focused on making a sale that they fail to reveal certain necessary information, tell you about discounts available, or clearly explain the process. Pradip Bhatto and his team at PKA Insurance Group are different. They have a reputation of putting people over profits and always doing what's best.
If you need life insurance or disability insurance, reach out to Pradip and his team today. They will help you get the insurance you need with the service you deserve.